Congratulations, you have made it through the last unit, chapter 3, and now we're going to start in with chapter 4. This whole chapter is triangles. We're going to get some vocab out of the way. First thing, different kinds of triangles. How do you classify them? Well, let's start out with the angles. We classify by angles, where when we name the triangle, we're just looking at the kind of angles it has. So our first one is the acute triangle, and just like its name says, this is a triangle that when you take a look at it, it has all angles that are acute. So they're nice, less than 90 degrees. That looks pretty good. So every single angle is acute. All angles are acute. And if you don't remember what acute means, make a note to yourself, less than 90 degrees, the sharp ones. Now an obtuse angle, or an obtuse triangle is one in which we've got one obtuse angle in it. So there's going to be one of those fat, bigger than 90 degree angles like this. That's my obtuse angle. And I'm going to have one obtuse angle in there. And then I'll just finish off the third side here, just connect it up. So there's going to be one angle bigger than 90 degrees. And then we've got finally a right triangle, and just like its name indicates, a right triangle is going to have a right angle in it. How many right angles can it have? Well, just one. So there's going to be one right angle. Now you might think about this. I just said there was only one. Could there ever be more than one right angle in a right triangle, or any triangle for that matter? Think about that and tell me tomorrow in class. I'm going to ask you this, and this will be for a treat or something. I'll give you something. If you can come and tell me why is there only one right angle possible in a right triangle. For that matter, also tell me how many obtuse angles can you have? Can there be more than one obtuse angle in a triangle? Like I say, first couple people who come and tell me those answers, I'll give you a treat. Okay, the other kind of triangles, we're looking at the sides of them when we classify them. So classifying by sides, we give them some different names. First, we have the scalene triangle. Now, scalene triangle is the kind of triangle that have no congruent sides. Not a single side matches any other. So we got 3 different side lengths. Let's put a short one on there. We'll put a medium on there, and then this is going to be my long one. Now, I can mark this, just for your notes, let's do. None of the sides are the same. So if I've got this side, there's nothing matching it. That's going to have 1 tick mark. I'll put 2 tick marks on this, and I'm going to have to put 3 tick marks on this one. That just means none of them match. Isosceles triangles, on the other hand, an isosceles triangle has some congruent sides on it. Let me sketch this out. I'm going to draw one side that has a matching side. This does not look that great, so I'm going to mark that with tick marks. This side and this side are matches. So an isosceles triangle is a triangle that has at least 2 congruent sides. At least 2 congruent sides. Now, can that mean that it has more than 2 congruent sides? Your book, the one that we have now, says it's at least 2. So that means if it has more than 2, it's still isosceles. But we're going to call that a special case. If it has 3 congruent sides, then we're going to name it as an equilateral triangle. So 3 congruent sides means equilateral. And let me draw this one. This could take a little bit of skill here to be real careful to make them all the same. And we'll just remove all doubt. This is the cheater way, but you can just tick mark 1, 2, 3. 3 matching sides make it equilateral. And we studied this in chapter 1. Equilateral means equal sides, all 3 of them. And you might remember that equilateral triangles also have that relationship where all 3 angles are equal. So I'm going to put in parentheses, this is another name, it's going to be true, equiangular. Equiangular. And I'm going off of the screen, so I'm going to do that down here. Equiangular. E-Q-U-I-A-N-G-U-L-A-R. Sorry about that messy handwriting. All right, let's take a practice here. On these, try these. Actually, pause the video. Pause the video and you give these a try. See if you can draw one triangle that fits the description. So for number 1, you're going to draw an obtuse and isosceles triangle at the same time, both obtuse and isosceles. And so on through. So pause the video, come back and check your answers. Okay, let's see how you did. Now you did need to mark the picture. Hope you did. That means some tick marks in there. So for an obtuse isosceles triangle, I need to draw a big obtuse angle And I also need to have two sides the same. So let me do that this way. Big obtuse angle, and it's going to end up being the same two sides that I just drew there. Let me tick mark that they match. And then I can just connect the sides up, and I'll have my obtuse isosceles triangle. Alrighty, an acute equilateral triangle. An acute equilateral triangle. All sides have to be the same, congruent sides. It's got to have 3 acute angles. Well, that's just the standard one. There isn't any other way to draw it, but 3 equal sides. 1, 2, 3. And you look at this, you got 3 equal angles. 1, 2, 3. How do we know they're acute? Well, one way I know is that what's my total in a triangle? 180 degrees. We learned that in the last unit. 180 degrees divided by 3 equal angles, since they're all the same, makes them 60-degree angles each. 60-degree angles there, there, and there, all 3. Last up, the right scalene triangle. Let's start out with our right angle. Right angle. And mark that picture. Mark that it's a right angle with that little square. And then we need it to be scalene, so I can have no sides the same. And it looks like I've drawn these 2 sides the same, so that's not going to do. I'm going to have to make one longer. Let me just extend this out a little bit. There, now they're definitely different, and then when I connect them up, I get the longest side of them all. So there's my right scalene triangle. How'd you do? Well, remember to come and answer that question for me about the different angles up there, and I'll talk to you more about these.